The journey is conversations with ordinary people about stories of transformation and how we may have had setbacks in our life and how we persevered through those, how we've learned from those obstacles, and how they've maybe helped us on our path today. Well, welcome to The Journey. My name is Kevin Polky, and I am the host of The Journey. And as we are wrapping up 2024, um, I want to do, again, a reflection on this time of year. Um, Recently, I was at our church, and our pastor Dan Hines was giving a sermon on the concept of joy, and that in itself kind of spurred me on to kind of think about a handful of thoughts. And I thought he made a great um, point that joy is sometimes misunderstood, that joy sometimes gets um, misunderstood as an emotional state or a feeling. And so that sometimes people will describe yearning or longing for joy when they're actually talking about happiness. And this sense or feeling of how am I responding to a circumstance or a situation or a moment in time or something that may have happened or may not have happened, that my response to that is a sense of glad or a sense of happiness. And his point was that this idea that joy is more of a state of mind, or this idea of an orientation of the heart, um, that that comes in this level of confidence or contentment or a sense of hope. That made me think, with that definition, made me think of when I do presentations and I talk about this idea that what if there is this sense of no such thing as actual darkness, it's just an absence of light. And that maybe when we were created, that something was placed within us. For me, as a Christian, someone who's been heavily influenced by Christian spirituality, as well as Native American, specifically Lakota ceremony and tradition, as well as other religious traditions that have influenced me over time. This idea that we, all of us, whoever or whatever your belief system is, that we were all created at that moment of conception, that we were created with something special that was placed within us. In the Judeo-Christian um, uh, story, it is that we were then in that light, or that thing that was placed within us. That is where we were created in God's own image, not a physical image, but we are that space in which we can be um, resemble to have the same type of love that God has for us, that we can have for others. That I that this idea that within that uh, light that was placed within us, that also represents where we discover our sense of purpose and our sense of meaning in our life. And it's our life's journey to journey through life, discovering what is our life's purpose as our life unfolds. And Joseph Campbell refers to that as this circle, this template of the hero's journey that we're continuously on, um, navigating through, pursuing this sense of purpose in our journey of becoming closer to discovering what is it that was placed at our creation, that is our divine purpose here on earth. That I've talked about this idea that we all exist on a continuum, that To the far, far left is the brightest of bright lights, representing love, hope, and there, what Dan referred to as joy. This joy that is there on this far end of the continuum to the left is this sense of contentment or hope, or the sense of confidence that when we're in there, we're in a space in which we are connected with God as we understand him. That at the other end of the continuum, the darkest of dark is a complete eclipse of that light, where hopelessness and despair, and there the darkness lies to us and thinks that maybe life isn't worth living. That even in that eclipse, that the light is still there, it's just covered with this darkness. Hence why we talk about that there's no such thing as actual darkness. It's just an absence of light. In this case, we're referring to the light being eclipsed with this darkness or this hopelessness or despair. That this idea of being on this continuum, that pursuing joy is not necessarily how I feel, but is this state of being. And how do we go about doing that? Is that we move from the mindset of it being a feeling or something that is transitional, that it's more of a perspective of being in relationship to God as you understand him. For me, that is my Christian walk. My being a Christ follower is how I am in relationship with Christ and with God through the Holy Spirit. That being able to focus on that daily relationship and throughout my day of that relationship, that looking for individuals to create that sense of community that may very well be family or friends or individuals along your path is another way of being open to be able to continue learning and moving toward that sense or that perspective of joy and fulfillment. And then from a practical standpoint, being able to practice gratitude, to being able to intentionally think about what is it that I have been blessed with in the midst of even the darkest times. If I pause and reflect and ground myself, that there's usually almost always something that I can choose to be grateful for in that moment. And that when I do that, that idea of being grateful, thinking from a mindset of a heart mode of abundance versus a fear mode of scarcity, that allows me to go from a closed mindset of scarcity and fear to an open mind of abundance, and then being able to be in this perspective or state of mind of joy, where I can experience this level of hope and contentment and confidence that it will be okay regardless of the storms that we may be experiencing. So during this time period, to be able to reflect in the midst of the busyness that is all going on, and as we wrap up the 2024 year and get ready for the 2025 year, thinking about this mindset, this perspective of joy through your relationship with God as you understand him, by seeking out and developing community with other individuals that could help you grow, can have your back and support you, as well as walk with you on your journey. And then intentionally pausing in the midst of all the things going on in our life to reflect on and being gratitude, a mindset of gratitude. I think it, for me, is a good way for me to wrap up the 2024 year and looking forward to the 2025 year by being present right now with a mindset of relationship with God, of the people that are around me that are part of my community, and having a perspective of abundance through gratitude so that I can experience this state of being of joy. As always, I appreciate you being here. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others.